the government has come out and established for the record these are real. We are over the Rubicon on that. That has occurred. In the last 3 years, the government has said UAPs are real. We have established a task force. We are providing a report to Congress. They're receiving classified briefings. This is whatever it is real.
And do you believe that life from somewhere else, while you ran this program, came here, visited, observed?
I will tell you unequivocally that through the observation, scientific methodologies that were applied to look at this phenomena, that these aircraft, we'll call them aircraft, are displaying characteristics that are not currently within the U.S. inventory, nor in any foreign inventory that we are aware of.
So I know you're being clear, but I mean, the answer is yes.
I can't speak on behalf of the government. Obviously, I'm not in the U.S. government anymore. My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone, whatever that means. I think people would be surprised to know just how frequent and the volume in which these things are apparently recorded and observed by active duty military people on missions around the world, by the way.
And by the way, this information comes in on a regular basis. This isn't anecdotal, happened in the Nimitz and then happened with the Roosevelt and then happened with the kid. This is occurring all the time. You're just hearing about those incidents. It hasn't stopped. So, let's not fool ourselves. People say, well, there's only been 3 incidents and some videos. Well, yeah, that you know of. Sure, you're right. There's a whole lot more too. And in time, hopefully those will come out too.
How often is this happening?
Well, it's hard to say because sometimes there's moments of lots of activity and sometimes there's not. But I would suffice it to say, weekly, if not certainly monthly. At this point, we know it's real.
You make an interesting point. At this point, that it's real. Not too long ago, as I mentioned, this would have been a joke, but now you've got a former president acknowledging this. What changed that now we have former President Obama saying, serious now, there are things that we cannot explain?
Yeah, well, and it's not just former President Obama. We have former Director of National Intelligence Ratcliffe. We have former Director of CIA John Brennan, former Director of CIA Woolsey. All of them have come forward, along with some of our elected officials in Congress who stepped forward. All have received classified briefings on the topic, and what they're being provided is extremely compelling. I think, again, we are well beyond reasonable doubt at this point.
But Lue Elizondo, a former member of a secret Pentagon task force on unidentified aerial phenomena, tells 60 Minutes the government has been covering up the truth until now.
What you're telling me is that UFOs, unidentified flying objects, are real.
I'm not telling you that. The United States government is telling you that.
Well, for many, many decades, the U.S. government has dismissed out-of-hand UFO sightings as crank stuff, things that lunatics babble about. Now, suddenly, they're taking a different approach. They are telling the truth. They're finally admitting that UFO sightings are, in fact, routine, and the government is now being systematic in investigating the question of UFOs. So, I mean, there have been enough sightings over a long enough period that the idea that this is a computer glitch or that these are generated somehow by radar systems, that can't be right, correct?
Tucker, we are well beyond right now establishing whether or not these things exist. It is an absolute fact that they are there.
What's like the number one thing that people ask you when they find out what you did? I mean, is it like, can you share any secret? Is that the first thing they ask you? I'm talking about like the average person.
Usually the first response is, you mean you're telling me it's real? And then usually the second response is, so do we have UFOs at Area 51? That's usually the second question, right on the heels of that one.
If you asked anybody, what is your definition of disclosure? Most people would say it's someone high-ranking in the U.S. government saying that this is real. Well, guess what? We now have senators saying it. We have the former director of CIA saying it, and the former director of national intelligence. The highest level intelligence officials in the land have now said it for the record that they're real.
Are there videos, pictures that you've seen that are not so grainy, not so far away, but instead up close, exact, let's say, such that someone who is on the fence about this issue would no longer be on the fence.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing that with Congress. I mean, there's videos and photographs and reporting that I've been privy to that are extremely compelling. I've said for the record that the 3 videos that have come out, as interesting as they are, they're probably the least compelling of the ones that we had. And this is why I'm so concerned about now the recent revelations that the Pentagon has deleted or destroyed my emails and my files, because there were documents in a very comprehensive shared folder that we had that was pretty incredible. I mean, there was some very high definition, high fidelity videos in there that when you looked at it, you realize, hey, that's not one of our aircraft. But look, I'll give you another heads up here. It ain't just the Bainbridge. It ain't just the kid and the Omaha. It ain't just what people know about the Boxer. There's some pretty interesting encounters that are happening as of like last week. This is occurring regular and routinely. This is not just the Nimitz and the Roosevelt. This is happening all the time.